Greetings, everyone. This is Rambling Collector here, and we are back with another book review for you all today. In particular, a new story that has taken the world by storm, especially with the subject of this book. Today, we are going to be talking about the Britney Spears autobiography, The Woman in Me. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, as soon as I heard about this book coming out, I knew that as soon as it came out, I had to get my hands on it, just to see what it was like. And surprisingly enough, as soon as I did, I finished this thing within 2 days. Like, I literally just finished it this morning, and I'm concocting this review for you guys. But for now, let's talk about it. So first of all, Britney Spears, this whole memoir that she wrote. First of all, this provides an incredible glimpse into Britney Spears and her backstory, from her troubled family life to her rise to rapid fame. And can I just say, one of the biggest things that shocked me was that she met so many iconic people, such as Natalie Portman, who you all would know as Padme Amidala from Star Wars, Christina Aguilera, Madonna, even Michael Jackson and Robin Williams, which these are things even I didn't know. Like, sure, I grew up when her songs were very popular on the radio, but I didn't know anything about any of this, or the many people that she had met throughout her life, which to me was absolutely insane. And I was thinking to myself, really? She did a performance with Michael Jackson? She met Robin Williams in an elevator? Are you serious? But, of course, this one also dives into detail about her relationships with both Justin Timberlake and Kevin Federline, as well as their very nasty conclusions, which, to be honest with you, I'd heard a few things buzzing about Justin Timberlake and Kevin Federline, and I really hope I am not butchering that name. Please let me know if I am or not. But regardless, the sheer details that she went into with this book about both relationships was insane. Like, the fact that when she and Justin were together, it was like the epitome of young love at first. And then she goes around to find out that Justin had been a very unfaithful partner, sleeping around a bunch of times, especially when he was getting high. And then after that, the whole thing with Kevin Federline, which that alone was a very nasty divorce, considering the fact that he was playing the victim and trying to keep her kids away from her. That alone was disgusting to read. Like, the sheer fact that they went from this warm romance, and then her finding out from an ex-wife of his that he had left after she had gotten pregnant, which to me, that just speaks about, really? You abandon them to not deal with the responsibility at all. And I didn't even know about Kevin. I'd heard maybe bits and pieces about Justin Timberlake, but I'd never even heard of Kevin until I read this book. But Lord, the nasty conclusions that they went into, especially with Kevin, essentially just practically abandoning Britney and the kids, and then going in public to say that she was horrible, and that he was just trying to be a good dad. And then Justin, of course, went on to basically slander Britney after they'd broken up. And the thing is, he actually had her go for an abortion, even though she'd wanted to be a mother. Justin apparently did not feel comfortable enough being a father, and because of this, she went through an abortion. And reading about the part where she was in excruciating pain in a bathroom while Justin was trying to comfort her by playing a guitar, I was reading this and I was like, are you serious, dude? Hug her or something. Like, it filled me with rage reading this, but that's not even the whole package here. And then, of course, the entire story of her conservatorship and the things her family did to her. I'm not kidding when I say when I was reading these, they made me sick to my stomach and enraged me to no end. Like, the sheer fact that she was monitored everywhere she went for 13 years, did the same show again and again and again with barely any chances to ever say no, or even to change up the show that she was the main star of, is ridiculous. Like, the fact that they wouldn't even let her smoke, drink, or even drink coffee, for Christ's sakes, is ridiculous. The fact that they were constantly putting her on multiple diets and exercise regimens just to keep her in shape, with her father constantly belittling her about saying how she was fat. and that he kept her on such a strict diet of chicken and vegetables without ever letting her experience any kind of food for herself, that is, that enraged me to no end. Especially with the fact that the father kept on going, I'm Britney Spears now, because essentially he owned her in that regard. And it points out a lot about how she was literally looking at the hypocrisy of it, of how she was too sick to be around her kids or to do other things, but she was well enough to perform on stage and go into public talk shows and stuff. Does that not sound the least bit suspicious to anyone else? Like, that alone is just control freak, dominating, and I hated it as I was reading it. It made me absolutely sick. Which is why I was really happy to find out that she was finally out of that conservatorship. Like, I was about to ready to cheer. And I'm not kidding, though, when I say the entire story of reading how she got out of it, her struggles with postpartum depression after giving birth to her two children, and then after that, the whole conservatorship, and how they literally locked her up in a mental asylum for reasons that I cannot fully remember. I sped read through the book, but the fact that they, again, locked her up in a mental institution with the threat of taking her to court, embarrassing her in front of everyone, and even threatening to take away her kids, I felt absolutely enraged about the fact. And I didn't even know anything about the Free Britney movement as I was reading this. I did not know anything about it. Like, I'm not kidding when I say I kind of was in the dark about the whole Britney Spears story in its entirety. And yet the fact that she managed to survive all of this, still come out relatively sane, though with a very severe phobia of doctors, which I can completely understand. I mean, the fact that they were literally emptying out her purse and keeping her away from any alcohols, pain medications, whatnot, even pain medicine they wouldn't allow near her. And they were getting onto her about taking supplements for energy or just nutritional supplements. Like, really? You're going to go that far to control her life just to make sure that you all can get rich. The fact that her mother, her father, and even her little sister were all in on this and were prospering off of her suffering as she worked herself to the bone, despite the fact that she originally even bought them a new house, cleared off her dad's original debts just so they could start off with a clean slate, only for her mother to divorce her father and then they somehow get back together. And I'm just sitting here reading this and I'm like, are you serious? Like, that whole master plan of essentially keeping her under their thumb and prospering off of her suffering, that made me absolutely sick. And then the conservatorship and the fact that she finally was able to get out of it in 2021, literally getting robbed of 13 years of her life, getting sent to so many doctors and even AA meetings, despite the fact that she never even drank a drop of alcohol. And then from there, just everything else. Like, the fact that she is still trying to enjoy her freedom, and frankly, I'm rooting for her at this rate. And I'm just straight up rooting for her. But with that all being said, let's move on to some random thoughts here. So the funny thing is here, I originally got this book mainly for interest, because to me, Britney Spears was someone who I knew growing up. Like, I didn't really know her, but I knew her music. Like, I don't know anyone who grew up in the early 2000s who did not at least hear once over the radio, Dance Till the World Ends. And there were so many others that I could probably name that I don't remember her ever singing. But just the fact that she is such an icon already, that she still is, that she was such a big part of my childhood, even in the smallest of ways from just the radio music, made me instantly want to pick this up. And I could say this, guys, for a simple 275 pages, this thing was a very fast read. Like, I did not expect myself to finish it within like 2 days. But when you're reading this, it is captivating how much it enthralls you to keep reading. Like, you know of this star. You know who she is, but you don't really know her story. And the way that it's told pulls you in so hard that you cannot bring yourself to put it down. Like, you are sucked in to the point that when you finally resurface, you are essentially taking a deep breath like you are underwater. A lot of people might say that the writing was very simplistic, but I think that adds a bit to the charm of it, because it basically lays out all the facts. It lays out everything that was going on, giving us her personal thoughts. And man, has my opinion of Britney changed after reading this. Like, I already knew that she was a big star, but reading about this makes her an incredibly amazing human being. I cannot stress it enough. The fact that she got to meet so many amazing people throughout her life, like before they even became big household names, and even meeting some old classics like Robin Williams and Michael Jackson. It's crazy to think that she had such a huge life of performance, control, searching for freedom, fighting for her kids. It was just, wow, it really pulled me in. I know a lot of people are probably going to think that she was over dramatizing a little bit, but wow. I don't see how you can make any of this kind of stuff up. I really don't. And the people who do think that, you might want to think about the world of Hollywood here for a second. And I gotta say, this type of situation really reminds me of the Jeanette McCurdy autobiography, which I read previously, and I will leave a link to the review here, which you should see in a little card here. But hearing about some of these stars and some of their struggles of early life, and then even later on, like Jeanette McCurdy, she went through a lot with eating disorders and such, but with Britney, it was more like her whole entire life was on lockdown and scrutiny, to only now, a couple of years earlier, finally being able to be given her freedom. After literally finding out that she didn't have to have a court-appointed lawyer, that she could have just found her own. Like, the fact that everyone kept her in the dark about this, the fact that they kept her locked up, is absolutely insane. But I think you already know what I'm going to give the score for this, so let's move on to that. So overall, I have to give Britney Spears' The Woman in Me a solid 10 out of 10. I'm not kidding when I say as soon as I heard about this, I immediately put this book on my TBR, and after reading it, I cannot recommend it enough. To all of you who were either a fan of Britney growing up, who heard her music in the early 2000s, if she impacted your life in any way possible, I would recommend picking this up. I cannot stress that enough. I'm probably just adding more fuel to the fire for the craziness that is this book, but I don't care. This is my honest, genuine opinion that this book is worth the read. I full-heartedly recommend this one. But if you guys have any other autobiographies you want me to check out in the future of other famous folks, please feel free to let me know. This makes the... Honestly, I think this makes like the 4th autobiography I've read or reviewed now. With Barack Obama, Will Smith, Jeanette McCurdy, and now Britney Spears. And needless to say, guys, if you like this video, feel free to leave a like, comment your thoughts on what you thought of this little podcast down below, or subscribe if you're interested for more. And I can tell you right now, I've got plenty of other books planned in the future. You didn't have to worry about that for a while. But this just goes to show that autobiographies are an absolute treat, especially when you learn more about the person behind the public image. It is amazing what you can learn about people when you just read their stories. And this just sparks my love for them even more. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for listening. This is Rambling Collector, signing off for now. Have a great day, fellow readers, and I will see you all in the next presentation. Have a great day.